Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be swatching the Sally Hansen Hard as Nails nail polishes. I really want to get into swatching and reviewing nail polish brands and collections, and these are cheap and easily available at Walmart, so I thought this would be a good place to start. Plus, I really haven't seen anyone review these or do many swatches on them, maybe like a couple individual colors. But I got all 21 shades that they had at my local Walmart. The only ones they didn't have in stock were the clear, the white, and the black. But I have all the colors. There may be other colors available in this line, but this is what they had that is stocked at my local Walmart. So I'm going to swatch them, give you my thoughts on the color range and the way they perform, and if I think you should get them. I'm going to be starting off with the Believe Ultra Shine base coat for every swatch. This is cheap and available at most dollar stores. The first color in the collection is this really pretty like seafoam green. It's called Made in Jade. It's kind of got like a blue shimmer shift to it. And this was actually the first color I picked out, and it's the only green in the collection. I really do wish they had more because I love green polish. Overall, this one did swatch very well. This is what it looked like after one coat. I'm not great at painting my nails. I've had short nails my whole life, so I'm gonna have to start practicing and getting better. I will say something about the formula with most of these polishes they are very prone to flooding, like in the cuticles, so I didn't take a lot of time to clean up after each swatch. But this is what it looked like after two coats, and I really like this one. The next shade is the silver. It's kind of metallic. It's called Pumping Iron, and I'm just going to go ahead and tell you I struggled with this one. It's like a very thin formula, but it like wants to pull together at the tip of my nail for some reason. And like I was really cleaning my brush off, but it was like polish just kept coming off the brush. Like it's just very thin, and it's like it just continues to leak out of the brush, I guess. So it looks very thick in some places and patchy in other places. So this was one coat. I do go in with a second one, and you can just see it still kind of wants to like pull up in areas, and it was just a little bit finicky to work with. And as you can tell, it starts picking up the polish underneath the layer that I put down first. I did eventually get a pretty good coverage on this, but it definitely takes some finessing with some of these polishes. So I'm going in with a third coat in some places that looked a little bit patchy still, and as you can see, it's picking up all that polish from before. So yeah, these are just kind of tricky, but I feel like I ended up getting it to a semi-okay place, but this was not my favorite, and you can find other silvers. So this next shade is called Cemented. It's a cool toned neutral. It's kind of like a grayish color. And this just has a cream finish. And this one actually surprised me. At first it looked like it was gonna be a little bit sheer. But these are very like self-leveling polishes. And you really can kind of work with them a little bit. And after a little bit of manipulation, I was able to get full coverage in one coat. And it dried really well, and I thought that it looked really nice. I did notice up at my cuticle was a little bit of patchiness, so I just went in with just a little bit on my brush and added it, and it blended in really well. So this next shade is a light like periwinkle blue, and it has a light blue shimmer, and I really do like this color. It is very pale, and it was a little bit finicky. It was kind of patchy, and I did struggle with this one, which was a real disappointment because I really did like this shade. So you can see I'm really like trying to go in and like perfect it even on the first coat, because I know that it's just going to be finicky. And one thing about these polishes, they're very thin. Well, some of them, they're very thin, but then they also get very gloopy by the time you add like a second coat. And this one was just really hard to work with. And as much as I love a light blue polish, and it really was kind of like a Cinderella blue, and I was very excited for this one just did not work out. I worked on it and really the shimmer doesn't show up very well. You probably can't really even see it in the swatch, but I would pass on this one. So this next color is another blue. This one is just a cream finish and it is a little bit darker. And again, it's got a very thin formula. It's definitely not opaque in the first coat. And it already started picking itself up and kind of wanting to pull in some areas. And you can see it was already flooding in my cuticle. And I really was wiping my brushes off, but it just seemed like it didn't matter. Like there was always so much polish. So maybe it's just going to take a little bit more practice with this one and a few of the others, because some of the colors really are pretty. They're just kind of hard to work with. And like I said, I'm not a very good at painting my nails, but this was after 2 coats and I thought it looked pretty. So here is a darker blue metallic, and I thought this one was really pretty and I was very excited for it. It was a lot more sheer in the beginning than I thought it was going to be, but I think it would be really pretty over other colors, more of a topper rather than a standalone polish. So here's how it looked after 1 coat. I wasn't expecting it to be fully opaque, and here I am going with a second coat, and honestly, it didn't build up a ton. Like there was no way I was going to be able to get it to full opacity to where you couldn't see my nail line underneath. So I kind of went in with a little bit of a thicker coat, but again, it just kind of started pulling up and picking up what was underneath. And it was just very, very patchy. So this isn't a color I'd ever be able to wear on its own. And it started just kind of getting thick in places and thin in other places. So this is definitely more of a topper. So next we have a really pretty glitter. It's got different sizes of chunky glitter and some finer holographic glitter. You can see that green and orange in there. And it is in just a clear base. So here it is on its own in just 1 coat. I did have a little bit of trouble getting the larger glitters to spread out, but the small micro glitters that are different colored and kind of like holographic are very even. So you kind of just have to manipulate the larger glitters a bit. So this was going in with a second coat, and obviously you're not going to get full opacity with this, but it's actually very pretty even on its own. And I did put it over black as well, which would probably be my preferred way of wearing this. It was really pretty, like especially for a drugstore glitter. I thought it had a lot of dimension and different colors in it, and over the black, those orange and green glitters really popped, and I thought it was really, really pretty. Next we have another glitter. This is just like a purple and like a light blue glitter in a clear base. There's not any other colors or dimensions to it, so I don't swatch this one over black because you can really see the colors and the way the glitters are dispersed even with just my plain nail. So this was with 2 coats and I thought it was really pretty. I would wear this on its own, and I think it would actually be really pretty over a solid cream finish as well, but you can really see those blue glitters hitting the light. And here's a purple. This one reminded me of like a Barney purple, and it's just a cream shade. And I really, really liked this one. I like this color. I'm a fan of purple polish. I don't really wear purple clothes very much, but on my nails I felt like it was really pretty. It's kind of a warm tone, and I thought it was flattering with my skin tone. This was one of the more opaque ones, and it was actually pretty opaque in 1 coat, but I did decide to go in with a second one just to see how it layered. And this was one that really didn't start picking itself up underneath like some of the others. And honestly, I feel like if you worked with it enough, you could do 1 coat with this, but I think it's very pretty. Next, we have this warm coral colored pink. It's more pink than coral, but it's just a cream finish as well, and very pretty for spring or summer. Just a nice, everyday pink shade. So this is another one that was just kind of finicky. It just kept getting patchier the more I would work with it. So I let it fully dry. I went in with a second coat, and it started covering okay, but again, it started picking itself up. and just getting gloopy in certain places. And I just never felt like I could get the nail fully covered. And there's just no way I was going to be able to do a third coat because it was already getting very thick. And I mean, it's a pretty pink, but it's nothing like super special. You can really find a pink in a better formula that wouldn't be expensive, like you can get it at the drugstore. Next, we have this really pretty, like pale pastel pink, and I didn't have high hopes for this one because of just the lightness of it and going back to that light blue. I just had a feeling it wasn't going to be very good, and not to my surprise, it was very milky and it really just was picking itself up. It was patchy. I couldn't get anywhere near full coverage with one coat. Somehow I lost the footage of me painting a second coat, but you can see it's just patchy. Next we have this orangey, like pinkish red. It's not a true red. It's definitely got a little bit of like a coralness to it. But this one I think is really pretty. I love this color. I think this is perfect for summer. It's not like super opaque. You can see a little bit of my nail line, but it was even. It wasn't like overly picking itself up. It was spreading out. I did obviously get some flooding in my cuticle, but that's nothing that you can't get cleaned up with a brush. So I did go in with a second coat, and honestly this one performed very well. I like this one. I can see myself wearing this one a lot this summer. It's just got a very like spicy, hot peppery kind of look to it, and I think this would be beautiful with anyone with a deep skin tone or a tan, so I highly recommend. Next we have this like fuchsia pink, and this is not like typically my favorite color, but something about this one on the nail, like I just really liked it. The formula was nice and smooth, and yeah, I was just a very big fan of this one. This is what it looked like after one coat. It wasn't picking itself up, and it was almost full coverage in one coat. I do go in with a second one, but it performed very well. It didn't really like pull up or pick itself up or get gloopy. Like it was just very smooth, and I really, really like this one, and I can see myself wearing this one a lot. Next we have this more purple toned pink, and it has like a golden shimmer, and this one does go on a little bit thinner and not as opaque, but it's very smooth. And if you like a nail polish where you can kind of see your nail line underneath, this one's actually a very good one because it's not patchy. It went on very easily and smooth, and I do go in with the second coat and it smooths on top of itself very well. It doesn't pick itself up or get gloopy or patchy, and honestly it just performed really, really well. So this was it after 2 coats. Now we have a darker version of that, and it has like a silver looking shimmer, but this one is a little bit more of like a darker plum color. And I was very surprised with this one. It was very opaque in the first coat. It went on very smooth. It wasn't gloopy at all, and I was very, very pleased with this, and I didn't even do a second coat because I would wear it in one. Now we have like a deeper rose gold metallic. I thought this one was very pretty. A lot of these shades do look alike, and I wish they had a little bit more variety, but these more pinky purple metallic shades all performed very well, and this one was no different. It went on very nicely. I like the way that it hit the light. It's like a blush pink with like a silver metallic shift, and I thought it was very, very pretty. And again, I was happy with this in one coat and thought that it looked beautiful. Next we have this like deep mauve, almost red. It's kind of like a burnt mauve color, if that makes sense. And this is just a cream finish, but I thought this one was very pretty. This is like a very fall color to me, but it was very opaque in one coat and went on very nice. Again, I had a little bit of flooding in my cuticle area, but that's very common for me, so that would be an easy fix. And again, this was a one coater. Now we have this deeper like red maroon shade. Again, very pretty for fall. Like I said, there's not a huge variety in some of these. A lot of these lash shades are the same like tone, but this one is very deep and vampy, and it was a little bit patchy. You can see it's kind of picking itself up and pulling in some places. So this one was a little bit more finicky. I had some flooding in my cuticles, so I cleaned that up. I'm going in with a second coat, and I did reach full opacity in 2 coats. It's a darker shade, so I'm not upset that it's a little bit harder to work with, but overall, I felt like it looks very pretty in 2 coats. Now we have a shimmery maroon red. This is like very Valentine's Day or very like Christmas to me. I thought it was very pretty. It does kind of have that formula that's kind of thin and wants to like gather in certain places. It's not as bad as like the silver was. And after a little bit of, manipulation, I was actually able to get 1 coat and it was very pretty. It reminded me of like a bowling ball. And lastly, we have this bright classic red. I love a red nail polish, and this one was very good. I thought that this was going to be perfect for summer or honestly year round, like a good classic red. You can't go wrong. I mean, you can pretty much find them anywhere, but if you want one that's cheap, these polishes are only $2. So I thought that it did pretty well. It does kind of have like a jelly kind of finish, like you can see a little bit of nail line after 1 coat. So I do go in with a 2nd coat just to see how it builds up. And again, it was very smooth, very shiny, and it layered well on top of itself. So yeah, I mean, nothing overly special, but it's a good, classic red. So this is what it looked like after 2 coats. I thought it was very pretty, just a nice classic red. So I decided to paint my nails with the Made in Jade color. This was my favorite out of the whole bunch, and I put a holographic glitter over top of it that also came from Walmart, and that will be coming up in a future video. But yeah, this was my favorite shade. So, my overall thought in the collection is that they are okay. They are just $2. They are easily accessible. And if you're okay with having to work with some of the shades, then I say if you see one that you like, then go ahead and pick it up. I really like the glitters and I like the green shade. And any of like the red, mauve, purple shades do really well. I would avoid the silver, the light blue, and the pink, but some of them, perform very well. And if there's any certain shade you like, I think you can get it to work if you can just like, finesse with a little bit. But that's going to be it for this video. I love you guys. Please let me know what you think about these polishes and what your favorite color is. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.